Hi everyone, welcome to Sandra's Bible Tales. Today I'm going to start with the book of First Kings, and in First Kings we see how it starts off with saying that David is already an old man and he couldn't keep warm even though they would put bedcloths on him, so they decided to get him a young virgin and to take care of him, but he wouldn't lay with her. And they were like, wow, the king is really old, because for him to deny a young beautiful virgin. And then it says that Adonijah, which was David's firstborn, starts exalting himself and promoting himself and saying that he's king. And Prophet Nathan hears this and he doesn't like it, so he goes to Bathsheba, which is Solomon's mother, and he says, look, have you not heard that Adonijah is exalting himself? And he says, this is what you're going to do to save your life and the life of your son. You're going to go to King David and you're going to tell him what's happening, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to confirm the words that you're saying. So this doesn't please David, so David says, don't worry about this, I got this. So David announces, King Solomon is going to be king in my place. And when the followers that were following Adonijah hear it, it says that they spread out and they tell, Adonijah, look, your father is saying King Solomon is king instead. And he freaks out and he starts running for his life. And they tell Solomon, look, your brother is running for his life. And Solomon says, well, if he will show himself to be a worthy man, not a hair of him shall fall to the ground. But if wickedness is found in him, he shall die. And when King David was about to die, he charges his son Solomon, and he says, be strong and show yourself a man. Keep the charge of the Lord your God. Walk in his ways. Keep his statutes, his commandments, his precepts, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may do wisely and prosper in all that you do and whatsoever you turn. And it says, that the Lord may fulfill his promise to me, saying, if your sons take heed to their way to walk before me in the truth with all of their heart and mind and with all of their soul, there shall not fail you to have a man on the throne of Israel. So here God gives them a condition. He says, if. That means that you have to meet the requirement. It's like if a parent says, if you behave good, then I'll take you to Orlando. If you do your homework, then you can go play. If you don't, that's a different story. So this is what God says. He says, if you follow my commandments. Then it says, certain things happen. And then it says that God appears to Solomon in a dream when he was in Gideon. And God tells Solomon, what is it that you want? And Solomon says, I am but a lad in wisdom and experience. I know not how to go, begin, or come in to finish. So give your servant an understanding mind and a heart and a hearing heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and bad. And it says that this pleased the Lord. So God not just gave him this, but he gave him wisdom. He says that he says that he gave him wisdom more than anyone in his lifetime before or after him. And it says, and I have also given you what you have not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings equal to you all of your days. And if you will go my way, keep my statutes and my commandments, as your father David, then I will lengthen your days. Okay, so it says Solomon awoke and it was a dream. And it says that then these two women came to him, and one of them says, look, I gave birth to a baby, and this other woman gave birth to a baby. And in the middle of the night while we were sleeping, he says, this other woman lay on her child, killed her child, went to my child, got my child, put it on her bosom, put her dead child on my bosom. And when I was going to nurse the baby, I saw my baby was dead. But when I looked at it, I realized that this was not my baby. And then the other one says, no, that's not true. That's my baby. So they're both fighting, saying that the one that's alive is the baby. So Solomon says, okay, not a problem. We're going to cut him in half, and each of you shall have half. And then the bad one, the one that's not the mother, is like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But the one that is a mother was like, no, she can keep him. So then Solomon says, give it to the one that says that the other one can keep him, because that's the mother. So it says that everyone was astounded at how wise Solomon was. And from then on, a whole mess of things that he did that were really wise, that people were in shock. It says that people would hear about it, and Queen Sheba from miles away came to hear everything he said. And people were just like, wow, like they would love to listen to King Solomon. King Hiram, gained favor and grace with King Hiram, and King Hiram did so many things for him, because King Hiram was a skilled worker, and he blessed him and gave him stuff and all this stuff. And then again, God tells David, I know you wanted to build a house for me, but you have too much war in your hands, too much blood. So now that I've given your son peace, I want Solomon to build a house for me. So Solomon does this, and Solomon, does a good job at it. And then afterward, God appears to Solomon again, and God says, I've heard your prayers. I've heard your requests. And yes, I'm going to dwell in the house that you've built me, and all of this stuff. He says, but remember to follow my commandments. If you follow my commandments, not one of your sons shall ever fail to be on the throne. However, if you apart from me, that's a different story. And he tells him what was going to happen. And then we see the life of Solomon. There was a couple of things that went on. But we see how it says, but King Solomon definitely, and King Solomon did love God, but there was a time where it says, but King Solomon in chapter 11 of First Kings, but King Solomon loved many foreign women, which God had said to stay away from foreign women. The daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Amorites, Edomites, Syrians, and Hittites. They were very nations of whom the Lord said to the Israelites, you shall not mingle with them, neither shall they mingle with you, for surely they will turn away your hearts after their gods. Yet Solomon clung to these in love. He had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart from God. So once this happens, none of the promises that God says to Solomon, he said if, and you just broke everything because you went after other gods. So I'm going to stop there. But this goes to show, like, some, when people say, oh, but I don't understand why, Christians can't get with other people that are not Christians, or why Israelites shouldn't get with other people that are not Israelites or Jewish, or why this or why that or why that. It's very simple. The Bible says do not be unequally yoked. And one thing that I saw that was very visual to me is there was, how horses, like when you're gonna go on a chariot or something, and you have two horses side by side and they go at the same pace and they go at the same direction. Well, imagine you have one horse and then you have like a bull or a cow on the side of the horse. They're going to go in different directions. They're going to go in different paces. It's not, the person on the chariot is going to be very unhappy. So if you don't have the same vision, if one person is pulling to the left and the other one is pulling to the right, you're never growing because you're never in one accord. And this is so important, because God basically says these women, they don't love me. They don't respect me. And they're going to make you lose the love that you have for me. And it's exactly what happened. So anyway, I'm going to close with this. Thanks for watching Sandra's Bible Tales. I will continue next time.